Your take throughout the whole thing, the scandal with Governor, the year long, he had the affair, did he not have the affair, did he misuse? What was your take on it?
Well, it was just a sad situation, and I hate to say if I would have been in his shoes, because I don't think I'd ever be in his shoes, I would have stepped down for the good of the state. And that's what I actually said on radio and television, that I think it would be best if he moved on.
And before that, we had Speaker Hubbard, who was the speaker. In the way Alabama's government is set up, the speaker has a lot of power.
And tremendous.
For the speaker to be having those problems, what does that say about people when they're electing people to Montgomery, what they should be thinking about?
Well, I think they need to be looking at character and competence. I think sometimes when we say someone's trustworthy, we're talking about character. But let's say I respect you for your political insights and your media insights, which I do after 15 minutes. You're competent in those areas, but if I were to have a heart attack right now, I wouldn't trust you to pull out your pocket knife and do open heart surgery. So it's not just having a good character, you have to be competent in the areas. And this is one of the things I think we fall short, not only at our state and our local level, but nationally. We're not focusing enough on character and competence.
And for character and competence to mean anything, it has to come down to accomplishment. So what things have you done in Jefferson County that make you say, I'm ready to be governor?
In 2010, when I first took office, we had $3.2 billion of sewer debt in default, $100 million of general obligation debt in default. We were 3 years past due on our audits. We had an indigent care hospital that was losing $10 to $15 million a year. We had a county nursing home that was losing $3 million a year, and the public had lost total trust in their county commission. Today, all those problems have been addressed. And so we had a mess. We've cleaned up the mess. One of the local reporters now call us the boring government. And at first I was a little insulted, and I said, you know what? That's what most people want. They want a boring government. They want the trains to run on time. They don't want to have to think about things. They just want government to work, be effective, efficient, non-controversial, and that would be one of my goals, is that we could bring to Montgomery sort of a stable kind of state government.
What are your views on the lottery?
I'm against it. I really think it's a sucker's bet. I've done the math. The proposal that Governor Bentley put out would require the average person, adult, to buy $195 in lottery tickets to make up that number. So I don't think that would happen, which means we'll fall short of our objectives. No one has given me a state that actually put in the lottery for education, that it actually improved education. And so I just don't think that's the way to raise revenues for the state.
Well, when it comes to revenue, the state's budget is a mess.
Yeah.
I cover the federal budget, and I see a mess there.
Yeah.
But with the state budget having to go to the education trust fund every now and then for more money, well, as governor, what would be your proposals to the legislature to fix that?
Well, Jeff, it was funny. I was going to give the same answer. You know, we steal from the education trust fund to prop up the general fund. We steal from the road fund, and we need money for roads too to prop up the general fund. One of the first things I will do is, a governor-elect, is I'm going to appoint proven decision makers to be my cabinet members. I always believe you hire someone smarter than you, quicker than you, better than you, that has character and competence in the area we're talking about, and I'll ask them to do a strategic plan. It's my understanding that only one department in the state has a strategic plan. That just boggles my mind. So we'll charge them, deliver a strategic plan in 6 months, tell us what we are doing, what we should be doing, what we shouldn't be doing, and once we agree on that, how can you do it more cost effectively? That will give me the benchmark of how much money we're going to need. But one of the things I agree with you is we need to sort everything into its current pocket. So I don't want to combine the education and the general fund budget. A lot of people have proposed that. It makes it too easy to steal from education. What I want to do, though, is combine the revenues. And it was a proposal by a North Alabama senator that said, let's put all the revenues in a pot and then let's agree to some formula to distribute those revenues. I think that's a very sensible plan, that we do that, so that we're not taking money out of education to grow across the road, or we're not taking money out of roads. And so it's going to be so important that the next governor not only has character and competence, that understands how to build consensus. And when you go through a bankruptcy, or when you go through the mess we did, you have to learn how to build consensus. We had 3 Republican commissioners, 2 Democrats. We had 4-1 votes, 1-4, 2-3, 3-2. And so most people would think if it was 3-2, it would be the Republicans versus the Democrats. That wasn't the case because we had to build consensus, and sometimes different people have different viewpoints. When I talk about building consensus, it's the opposite of compromise. If you and I compromise, you gave up something you really believed in, and so did I. If you and I build consensus, we find that 60, 70, 75% we agree on, and we move that forward. And so we find elected officials, both at the state level and national level, keep wanting this grand compromise instead of really sitting down and try to reach consensus. The second part of that is you have to compartmentalize issues. One of the things we had to learn in Jefferson County, you can't get so embroiled in this situation that you let it bleed over to the next. So I was on the wrong side of a 2-3 vote. But the next one, I might have been on the winning side of a 4-1 vote. And so we learned that we have to build consensus and compartmentalize issues. I think that bodes well for the state as well.
When it comes to the working with the legislature, I mean, that's a big part of it. One thing we heard, especially myself, from legislators all throughout over the past year was that they just either didn't trust or didn't need to listen to the office of the governor at all because of the way Alabama's constitution is set up and the loss of trust that former Governor Bentley had. What are you going to do to regain that trust from legislators?
Well, same thing. You build consensus and you compartmentalize issues. But one of the things that I heard that Governor Bentley didn't do, and I don't know this, is he actually didn't engage the legislators either. And why in the world we don't have sit-down meetings where we talk about substantive issues and have a closed-door policy where we can freely talk about issues without someone running to the media and saying, wow, David Carrington suggested we do this. We need to be able to trust each other, have those meetings. So one of the ways you build trust is to engage each other. Now, people say the governor doesn't have a lot of power in legislative issues. He has the power of the veto. So you're going to say real quickly, well, it can be overridden, with a majority vote. But the governor has the bully pulpit. And so if he vetoes the bill on Thursday afternoon after they leave, you got 4 days to get the public involved. And so I think the effective use of a veto is something that you'd see a Governor Carrington use. So you get a little bit of balance of power, not a full balance of power, but a little bit.
Economic-wise, Alabama, one of the big initiatives that came up while Governor Bentley was in office was the growth, especially in this area down in South Alabama, of aerospace, defense, maritime, these industries that are really the future coming to Alabama for manufacturing. What are you gonna, when you're talking to business, if you're elected, or what are you gonna tell business leaders? Hey, nothing's changed. We still want your jobs. Is that?
No, as a matter of fact, I've actively recruited jobs. Mayor Bell and I were in Japan together in September. Jefferson County, or the Birmingham metro area's GDP is greater than Mobile, Montgomery, and Huntsville added together. So I've got an economic engine too. We had some difficulty, and in our difficulty, it was hard to recruit jobs. But subsequent to exiting in the last year, we've announced about $1.5 billion in new projects as well. I need Mobile to succeed. I need Huntsville to succeed because we all pay taxes, and that raises the level in the entire state. So I'll be just as active recruiting jobs for here as I will in Mobile. The Secretary of Commerce, Greg Canfield, was president of the city council when I was president pro tem. And then when he left to go to the legislature, I became president. So Secretary Canfield and I have a close relationship. He's not a homer for West Davie Hills, where I'm from. He looks at the entire state, and I do it as well.